We have Steve Deace here, who was a little irritated last night. If you think I'm irritated today, I am like a peace, love, and hippie guru at an airport compared to Steve Deace. Steve joins us now. Hi, Steve.
Gentlemen, good morning. As Ringo Starr would say, peace and love.
Right.
Peace and love.
I'm guessing your mood has not improved much since 2 a.m.
No, it has not. In the slightest.
Right. Okay. How are you feeling about the numbers and the way things are going?
What's happening here is the same people that brought you fake news, fake Russian collusion, fake rape allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, fake Ukrainian collusion, fake COVID doomsday models, fake polls, have now brought you a fake election. This isn't about numbers, and it's not about specifics. It was about, this is the third and final stage of a plan. And this is a coup. That's what's going on here. And I've just read what Bill Stepien, the president's campaign manager, said, and he offered some very specific numbers. And here is what this is about now. This is Crips versus Bloods. It is a street fight now. Newt Gingrich advising the president to go to the Republican Congress is like going to the drugstore and buying condoms after she tells you she's pregnant. They won't help you at all. The Republicans want to be rid of him. They want to be rid of his base. They hate him and his base. They will be no help. In fact, even if they wanted to, you wouldn't want their help because they're the Apple Dumpling Gang. Right now, you want your own team on the street, on the ground in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, in these states, hand-to-hand combat, and it's a brawl. And that ought to be Donald Trump's happy place, much more than the nuances of the halls of Congress. That's what's going on now.
So give me some specifics that show you that this is a coup. Not that I don't disagree with your premise at all, but do we have the evidence that they have already cooked the books? Because the evidence that I see right now is the hey, we all had to go to sleep last night. We couldn't finish counting. That's inexcusable. Something I've never seen before. But do you have any numbers that show anything?
Well, how about the fact that that Joe Biden needed to win about 75% of the Hugo Chavez-like number in Wisconsin, with not even all of the votes counted. They're saying he actually won like 80+ % of that remaining vote. Look at what happened in Virginia last night, and we were talking about this right before we went off the air. And this was my first sign. You know, we had three phases of this election last night. The first phase was Trump had to prove he was in the game. He did that in Florida. The second phase he had to prove was there's a path for him and more than one to get to 270. He did that. Well, then we entered the third phase, what I called last night blue state chicanery. And Virginia is an excellent example. You had Fox News with their voter suppression. Calls. That's the word we're going with, I guess, today. Fox News and others calling Virginia right away. And yet Trump is leading in the raw data total the entire time. And then at about 11:30 Central Time last night, there was a report from the Fox affiliate there in Fairfax County that they had overcounted Joe Biden's sample by 100,000 votes. And then when we left
Fairfax,
last night at 2 a.m.
In Fairfax.
Yeah, in Fairfax County, which is the wealthy, upscale, right county where all the government workers work there.
Yeah, I mean
right?
it's as blue as California.
Right, but this isn't some it's Wayne County, Detroit, and that's not what Fairfax County is.
Right.
And they had 100,000 vote error, and then when we went off the air last night at 2 a.m., they still had not updated the Secretary of State's office one time. Now, this is the 21st century. This is an era where we can track anybody down we want. We can everybody's concerned about their data being stolen. Everybody's concerned about being tracked everywhere they go. And Florida, with the third highest population in America, the most contested state of the last 50 years in presidential elections, they got this thing all wrapped up by 10 o'clock last night. And the rest of these states can't figure it out in the middle of the night. And it just so happens when they all shut down, Donald Trump is ahead. And when you wake up, oh, by golly, them's the breaks. He's just suddenly behind in every single one of these states. Here's my evidence. Who does the counting? The same people. They lie to us about everything. They've been lying to us about everything this entire time. And it's like the same people that gave you the IHME models are the same ones that are counting these votes.
Are you comfortable at this time? Because everything you say right now, I agree with. However, I don't think I could prove it. I have a bunch of feelings. I have a long string of things that I've never seen before. But, you know, the most compelling thing you said to me was 80% of the vote went for Biden. At the very end, the votes that came in at the very end that they found that it hadn't been counted yet, 80% went for Biden. That's not plausible.
No. What you just described is what we would call in a criminal proceeding, prima facie evidence, meaning that there's evidence that an investigation is worthy. It may come up with nothing. But it just means it's more evidence than putting Julie Swetnick on national television. Let me tell you that. It's prima facie evidence that something nefarious has happened. But here's the problem. Who would adjudicate this? The Republicans who voted 50 times to repeal Obamacare when they needed our votes and then didn't do it? John Roberts, who says in the Supreme Court, it's a state exchange it's not a state exchange when it's a federal exchange setting up the state exchange. And Obamacare is not a tax, but a mandate that's a tax, even though the Obama administration said it's not a tax. So to whom would we go, Glenn? To whom would we go to have a fair, honest hearing so we can all find out what the actual result was? Would it be the transgendered health secretary of the state of Pennsylvania and the sociopathic governor there? Where would we go to get a real hearing to find out once and for all so we could come together later as a nation and say, eventually, we have to put this behind us and take our kids to Little League and school? To whom would we go? To what appeal? Fox News and their voter suppression in Arizona last night, conservative media gatekeeper? Where would we go, brother? Where would we go to get the closure you're asking for? I don't know where we would go. Whom is a fair and impartial juror here? Can you name somebody?
Okay, so again, I agree with your feelings. I agree with your premise.
See, I don't think it's a feeling; it's an observation.
Yeah.
It's
okay,
that's
you're right. You're right.
We're in.
You're right. And I agree with where do you go now? Since our job is not just us doesn't require us to only state the problem. Where do we go? What do we do, Steve?
This is my fear, Glenn. It's been my fear for the last 6 months in this election, is that we're dealing with forces at work in this country who want a civil war. And I don't want one, Glenn. I make a good living. It ain't as good as yours, and I'm not in the Hall of Fame, brother, but I ain't poor by any stretch. I make a good living. I've got 3 great kids, a nice life. I want to go home to them. I got a call from my daughter last night. Her store she manages was like 3rd in the whole company nationwide for sales. I want to go home and kiss her and give her a hug. I don't want to do this. But there are nefarious forces at work in this culture that want to remove all the norms, want to remove all the institutions that our founders gave us so that we could have these brawls civilized in a civilized manner. And then one side clearly won and one side clearly lost. And if it was you on the losing end, you went back and got them the best you could next time. And it was on to be in America the next few years. And we'll fight it out again at the next election. These people want to undo this country. They're deconstructionists. They're stained glass window shatterers. And they want to take all of this away so that the people who own all the guns, and your audience and mine, feel as if they have no alternative, therefore, but to take the law into their own hands. We don't have a political party that represents us. We don't have a court system we can trust. And that's why so many people turn to somebody like Donald Trump to begin with, is they thought with his money, he was independent of the system, that he would fight for us. And now you look at what's happening right now. Where's Mitch McConnell still silent? Where's Kevin McCarthy? Still silent. Where's all your Republican senators and congressmen? Silent. Standing by like Pontius Pilate, waiting for the Democrat Party to do the deed, so they can get their grimy, gollum little hands back all over this poor, pathetic excuse for a political party. We keep bailing out to try to bail ourselves out because we know that if the Republican Party fails, the last step we probably have is lock and load. And we don't want to do that. But these leftists, they want us to. They want that. They want the end of the country, and they're trying to provoke the Bolsheviks versus the Mensheviks out in St. Petersburg Square as we speak.
I wish you were more passionate. Steve, thank you for last night. Thank you for your analysis. You were spot on last night. I thought you were great, and you have been really, really good. And you've done your homework, I believe, on COVID and on the election. I actually have a couple of things that I need to address today. I'm going to try to see if we have time on the other side of the break to hit one of those things. But there is an answer for this, and it's vital that we all do it. And I'll talk about that here in a second. We'll talk to you later, Steve. Thank you so much.